Hey there, Duke fans. I am going to hand this over to Donald in a second here. I am recording this after we have finished recording. You will hear Donald refer to this as a DBR Bites episode. Let's say we went long. Things got a little.
That's an understatement.
So Jason and Donald are here. Donald's gonna come on in the second and do the proper intro, but no way was this a DBR Bites episode. So you will see in your feed. It is numbered. What are we at? 497 now?
497, yeah.
497. We're at DBR Podcast, episode 497. Here it is.
Hello there, Duke fans, and welcome to episode 18 of DBR Bites. We are here on Monday, March 6th, 2023. We are officially in the postseason of college basketball. The ACC tournament begins this week. We will not talk about the ACC tournament on this particular Bites, but later on this week, maybe a day or two, you will hear from us about the ACC tournament. But for now, we are here to talk about the ACC postseason awards that have come down just today. There's a lot to talk about with regards to Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Freshman of the Year, but also the All-ACC various teams that have been awarded. But first, I am Donald Y. I am hosting this episode. I also have Jason and Sam with me. Jason, hello. How are you doing this evening?
Good. If you are coming here for me to be outraged over Kyle Filipowski or someone else being slighted by Duke, I'm afraid I have to tell you that I'm not going to be outraged. Sorry.
Why? I mean, I'll be outraged for you. I'll be outraged for some people. But first, before we do, here's Sam Klein. Sam, how you doing?
Great. I am very sorry that I missed yesterday's episode. I'd love, of course, recapping anytime.
Hey, Donald, can we give Sam 30 seconds or so to tell us about what he thought of the game?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
Sure. So I missed the game on Saturday as well. It's not clear based on the conversation that you all had on Sunday that I missed the game on Saturday, but I wasn't able to watch the game. The timing was very poor against the wedding that I was at. However, there were a few other people in attendance who were similarly dismayed that they couldn't watch the game. So we watched on our phones just the last portion of the game, like after the last media timeout. So with about 3.5 minutes left in the game. And we were like looking at the score on our phone off and on, but like, the ceremony was happening. And then there was the people coming in and giving speeches and things. It was not conducive to me staring at my phone for 2 straight hours, but I did watch the last 4 minutes. So here are my impressions. 1, wow, no one could score in this game. 2, wow, Kyle Filipowski is so strong. He can do anything he wants. 3, wow, Armando Bacot sucks. And that was it. That's all I knew about this game. Great gritty performance. Jason mentioned in the recap that he was talking to people about, first to 60 wins. I had the exact same impression as I was watching the score tick up, and I had the flashback I have frequently to the 2010 national championship game, the game before which I said, and which I cannot prove because all of this happened in the pre-I'm online days, that the first team to get to 60 in that game was going to win. And of course, Duke won that game 61-59. So I just want you to know I've been using that line for, a long time. But wow, great.
And how rare is it for Sam to have something where he feels like he's been like on it for longer than me?
The whole time. I've been on this game the whole time.
I feel like we say that every time we play Virginia because it's clear every time someone plays Virginia that if someone reaches 60 points, that someone's probably going to win the basketball game.
But by the way, first to 60 only works if you get to 60.
Right, which doesn't always happen in a Virginia game. So if you do reach 60 and win on a team that usually averages 50 points a game, then yeah, you're probably going to win.
You guys talked about how well Duke performs against Carolina when the score is low. Did you see the tweet today from Duke men's basketball about how like all the like season ending stats about how like Jon Scheyer won the most games of any coach in Duke history, and Duke held whatever like 85 or something % of opponents under their season scoring average, and then they ended with it's
epic. Give the line. It's epic.
It was the troll. Like I don't have it pulled up, but the troll against the
it was amazing. It was against the ACC refs. It was
I got you.
It said we will consider. Oh, someone say it for me.
We consider this matter closed away from claiming first place or co first place in the conference.
Yo, I don't know who is running the Duke men's basketball Twitter feed, but that dude is
that was
definitely
spicy.
Not afraid to get fired.
Yeah, that was spicy.
Oh, they're not getting fired for that. They probably were like, yo, look, I'm about to say this, and I guarantee you that everyone agrees. And they're probably like, yeah, why not? Go with it.
The Duke men's basketball Twitter feed has been doing some serious trolling this year.
Jason said he's not going to be fired up for the All-ACC selections. Jason, I'm going to get fired up for the All-ACC.
Yeah, that's so.
I love to hear it. I just don't think there was any. We should get to it now. We've been.
Let's get into it. But here's how we're going to break it up first, because as everyone knows out there, there's a lot of awards, right? Like Player of the Year, Coach of the Year, those sort of ones. We're going to talk about those first, and then later we'll talk about the All-ACC, the various teams that we have. So let's first. I'm just going to list right now all of the awards that were issued today. The ACC Player of the Year was Isaiah Wong from Miami, fourth-year player. ACC Coach of the Year, Jeff Capel from Pitt. I think we were not surprised at that one. Congratulations to our fellow member of the Brotherhood, Jeff Capel. ACC Rookie of the Year, it's a Dookie. It's Kyle Filipowski, and it was a runaway. He had 68 votes to Judah Mintz's 7 votes. ACC Defensive Player of the Year, Reese Beekman from Virginia. Dereck Lively finished 4th in that race. I should mention that Flip also finished 5th in Player of the Year running. ACC Most Improved Player was Quentin Post from Boston College. Jeremy Roach was at the bottom of this, but he did get a vote for Most Improved Player. And then finally, we have the 6th Man of the Year. We have Nike Shabande from Pitt. We also have Ryan Young, who placed 4th, and Dereck Whitehead, who placed 5th in that race. So, guys, let's start with Rookie of the Year, because freshman of the year, Kyle Filipowski had a tremendous year. We had Dereck Lively, who was the preseason favorite to win this award, but Kyle Filipowski emerged throughout the year, and I think it was pretty evident, that he was going to get this award. Jason, what do you think?
So I think this award needs to be renamed the Duke Rookie of the Year or Duke Freshman of the Year, because we own this award like nobody's business. He is the 2nd consecutive ACC Rookie of the Year from Duke, the 9th time in the last 12 years. Again, 9 of the past 12 ACC Rookie of the Years have been players from the Duke program, and Duke has a record 14 ACC Rookies of the Year. Georgia Tech is next with 11, and then North Carolina with 9. But we've almost lapped the field in that category. Obviously, I've got no complaints about Kyle winning Rookie of the Year. In fact, my biggest complaint about it is probably that Judah Mintz got 7 votes from Syracuse. Judah Mintz is a very fine player, and I thought he was pretty clearly the 2nd best rookie in the ACC this year. But the notion that there were 7 voters who said he was better than Kyle Filipowski is kind of laughable. I think that it should have been an absolute runaway, and that Kyle should have won it unanimously. Not that it matters. I mean, it's not like they put the word unanimous on your trophy or something. He still gets the trophy. He's still the winner of the prize. I just can't get that outrage about him not being unanimous.
It's interesting, Jason, that you pointed that out, because that's the one I'm least annoyed by. I'm more annoyed by the fact that, 1, Kyle Filipowski is not on the ACC first team, despite 1, getting the 5th most votes for ACC Player of the Year, and 2, I think having at least one of the top 5 seasons in the ACC personally. So I'm mad that Filipowski's not on the All-ACC first team. I think he deserved that much. Let me tell you something else that I am mildly.
Hold on, I got a question. I didn't know I thought we were doing them by category.
Yeah,
you
jumped the gun a little bit.
I'm skipping ahead.
Yeah, you skipped ahead a little bit.
Fine.
But we'll
read the rest of the awards. Then let me get spicy.
Okay. So
Well, we already did. Hang on. You already talked about Coach of the Year, right?
Yes.
Let me get spicy about that. Jon Scheyer didn't get a single. Maybe he got 1 vote, but he didn't end up in the top 5.
He didn't get a single vote. And if there's any place I was going to get spicy, you have taken it. I agree.
Okay.
Scheyer deserved votes.
So, yeah, Jeff Capel had a great season. I am really happy for him. We obviously root for him because he's a Duke guy. Totally understandable that Jeff Capel would win ACC Coach of the Year. Jim Larrañaga had a great season. He came in 2nd place. They beat the crap out of Duke. I was in the building. I know. I saw it in person. It was not a mirage. That being said, Jon Scheyer is a first-year head coach. He took over this program at the age of 35 and managed to end up in 4th place in the ACC with almost an entirely new roster of guys, dealt with all of these injuries, and figured out how to incorporate transfers, figured out how to incorporate new freshmen who came in with injuries. And I feel like Jon Scheyer deserved more love for ACC Coach of the Year. Like, what I guess if the ACC refs don't call the end of the UVA game incorrectly and Duke ends up tying for first place, does Scheyer get 3 votes for ACC Coach of the Year?
Look, on top of that, right? He didn't just have a very successful season so far. He set records doing it. He's the first ACC coach to ever in his rookie season win all of his games at home. He has more Duke wins in his first season than any other coach in history. The only other coach to sweep UNC in his first year at Duke was some guy 80 years ago that did it. Like not even no Coach K, no Roy Williams, no Dean Smith. Anybody you talk about over the course of the years of this generation's lifetime, no one has done what Jon Scheyer has done for Duke and for the ACC. And I think, and here's the thing, it's always about, this award has generally become the team that overachieves the most, that coach usually gets the award. But Tony Bennett got 2 votes, and Tony Bennett has.
Yeah, what the hell is that?
Tony Bennett got 2 votes, and he in Virginia has been good for the last 7-8 years. Like has
At
been
Donald. They've been good for like 12 years.
Yeah, contending for ACC championships every year,
and they're the same damn
winning
team
national titles
every year. They're the same team every year. Why is Tony Bennett getting votes? Coach K couldn't get votes.
That's my beef with this, is that if you're going to say that, okay, it's Duke, they're expected to win every year, that's why it doesn't get any votes, that's fine. But Virginia is also expected to win every year. Virginia was a top 10 team at the beginning of the season. They're in 13th right now. Like, this team underachieved, if you think about it in a way, and he still got 2 votes, and Jon Scheyer didn't get any when he had a historic season in the ACC. I think that is pretty criminal. And I'm not saying that he should have won it, but he should have had his name listed amongst the coaches receiving votes.
Yeah, so I completely agree. I mean, for Jeff Capel to take a team that was supposed to be 14th and have them at the top of the standings pretty much the whole season. On the last day, in the final couple of games, they fell back and they finished 5th in the standings. But that's a tremendously impressive job by a guy who had to coach his butt off because he was going to lose his job otherwise. So, absolutely, I've got no problem with Jeff Capel winning that award. I don't know what these other guys' names are doing on the list. It's preposterous to me. I don't know why Jim Larenega's on this list. I mean, frankly, Miami was basically the same team we thought they were going to be. And then the other thing that pisses me off about this is that, like, why is recruiting not part of the consideration for Coach of the Year? I've been bothered by this for at least a decade, if not longer. It's like they look at Duke and they go, look at all that talent. Oh, is coaching not bringing in that talent? It's absurd. It's stupid to me that they would discount the job done by Duke coaches. And it's not just Jon Scheyer. The same thing happened with Coach K, because they go, oh, the team's full of future NBA players. Coaching is bringing in those NBA players. I mean, it's preposterous. And if you want to say during this year he was recruiting for next year, he still has the number 1 class in the ACC. It's stupid.
And one of
Jon Scheyer didn't get any votes.
And one of the best ones in the country. Like, when it comes to recruiting, we're not talking about the ACC. We're talking about the country when he's doing that. But here's the thing. Here's my question. And Sam, I'll let you end this particular discussion on the coaches. My question is this: at this point, what does a Duke coach got to do to earn recognition amongst his peers as having done the best job in the Atlantic Coast Conference? Because if Jon Scheyer goes undefeated, he still doesn't get this award, in my opinion. He's barely gets votes.
Hold on.
If he goes undefeated, I think he would have gotten it.
Yeah, I mean, Coach K won it back in, was it 99? Yeah, when 99, when Duke basically just ran through the ACC like
and when's the last one did he get? 1999. It's the last one he got. After that,
right?
It was expected.
Is that actually the last time he won ACC Coach of the Year?
I'm pretty sure.
We'll have to look it up.
He has not won one since I went to school, and that was in 2000. He has not won one since then. So 99 was probably his last one.
He's a 5-time, according to his Wikipedia page, 5-time ACC Coach of the Year. Here are the years. You want to guess the years? This is a fun game. If you guys haven't landed on the page yet, go, Jason.
I haven't gone to the page. 86 for sure.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Give me them all. Give me them all, and then I'll tell you how many you got.
All right. So I'm going to do 86. I'm going to go 91.
Okay.
No. I'm going to go 92.
Okay. 86, 92.
97, 99. Ugh.
I'm going 86, 89, 91, 92, 99.
Yeah, I like
Okay.
Donald's list.
Collectively, you got 3 of the years. So he won it in 1984, 1986, which you both got, 1997, which Jason got. What happened in 1997 that was so remarkable? I guess that's like his first year back at the top post having to be he was back in 96, but they weren't that good, right?
They were good in 97. They were quite good.
And then 99 and then 2000. He won ACC Coach of the Year.
2000. Okay.
Oh yeah, 2000 makes sense because he lost everybody from the 99 team, and 2000 he brings in a bunch of freshmen when
and they still won the
freshmen
ACC.
Was not fashionable. Yeah. Jay Will and Boozer and Dunleavy, and they won the ACC, and that it was a surprise that they did with all those freshmen.
And then he proceeded to win 3 more national championships, but no more ACC Coach of the Year awards. So
yeah, well, we don't even have to get into. I think he never won the AP Coach of the Year.
I'm looking. He's a 3-time Naismith College Coach of the Year, 2-time NABC Coach of the Year.
Oh yeah, Naismith.
Never won the AP Coach of the Year, which is just the silliest thing of all time.
Incredible. But
we've gone far stream here, guys.
Let me wrap this up with I told you at the beginning of this season to take it easy on Jon Scheyer. And we got an email. Actually, I love this email that we got. We got an email about this topic, which was basically like, oh gosh, now I've lost it and I need to find it again. I'm so sorry. But basically, like, we need to look at this whole season, the regular season, which is now concluded, as being a huge victory for Jon Scheyer. That and I know you guys talked about this yesterday in the show. I just want to somewhat repeat the sentiment that sure, Duke was picked to end up second in the ACC. They ended up 4th. Fine. Jon Scheyer managed through all the injuries this year to keep this team together, to limit the chatter and there were no like negative headlines about Duke this season, right? And there was always some weird drama with Coach K. Like almost every year we had to come on here and be like, oh, the stuff about Grayson Allen tripping people, and oh, the team isn't performing well, they're not going to make the tournament during the COVID year, and blah blah blah. All these sorts of like mini controversies. The thing with the Oregon player at the end of the NCAA tournament in 2016.
Dylan Brooks.
The Dylan Brooks,
such a punk.
All the whatever. Coach K's dealing with bad personalities. Oh, the team's not gelling with Austin Rivers. Jon Scheyer didn't have any of that nonsense this year. None of it. There was the last nonsense surrounding the Duke program was like half a day's worth of, oh, was there a weird breakup between Jon Scheyer and Nolan Smith? That thing lasted for that was a rumor
3 hours. Yeah.
Right. That was half a day. And before that, it was, oh, Jon Scheyer got the job instead of maybe Tommy Amaker. No one's complaining about it, and I understand that Duke is good at like keeping a lid on stuff. Part of the reason that happened is because Coach K was in the building and was like in charge. I understand he's still in the building, but it's not like Coach K is doing the same stuff sort of day to day to manage the narrative around everyone. And I just want to commend Jon Scheyer for keeping all of that stuff in control in a year that did not go at all according to plan, given all the injuries. And so hats off to him for that.
And you kind of mentioned it in explaining all of that. He did all that. No other coach has ever had to basically come after the greatest coach that ever lived, right? Like he had to basically walk in those shoes, and every single time something happened where we would stumble, there was people outside of this program who were like, oh, see, probably regretting that move.
Dude, Gene Bartow wants a word.
Who?
The guy who followed John Wooden.
Oh, that's well before my time, but yes.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
No, but what
I'm saying, look, I hear you.
But he didn't have social media to deal with.
Right. But Jon Scheyer is in a category with Gene Bartow and Bill Guthridge. Yeah, as guys who had to follow literally walking legends, guys who, when they retired, were considered the greatest of all time.
Mm-hmm. Yes, but they didn't have the social media angle that they had to deal with. And I thought, again, every single stumble, there was someone like, oh, well, I don't know, maybe Coach K is going to come in and take over practice. None of that ever happened. He took everything in stride, and at the end of the day, he's sitting right where we are. As you know, we may have finished 4th in the ACC, but we are the best team right now in the ACC. I think we all can agree on that. I know we usually don't take a break, but let's take a break real quick, and then we'll get back. We'll talk about all ACC teams after this. All right, we are back, and let's get into the All-ACC teams that came out. We've talked about the awards. Let's talk about the teams. And I know Sam teased it on the first half of this show, but let's talk about All-ACC. Kyle Filipowski, he misses the first team by 4 points. He is on the second team All-ACC. We also have Jeremy Roach as All-ACC honorable mention. No teams make the first, or no Dukies make the first or the third team. The all-freshman team, though, is full of Dukies. We have Kyle Filipowski, Dereck Lively, and Tyrese Proctor all making the all-freshman team. And then all-defensive team, we have Dereck Lively II making that team as well. Guys, I think the freshmen obviously were leading the charge and having a great season. Talk to me, Jason, I go to you because I know Sam teased it on the other side. Talk to me about Kyle Filipowski making the second team. All the metrics kind of said that he was in that top 5. I'm pretty sure I knew he was in the top 5, of the best seasons of anyone in the ACC. How does he end up on the second team?
Well, so first of all, we should add to what you just said that Ken Pomeroy, statistically, from an efficiency standpoint and from the standpoint of all the stats, not the eye test, but the stats, Kyle Filipowski was Ken Pomeroy's pick as ACC Player of the Year. And it actually wasn't even that close. He won it. He was in first place in those rankings throughout the entire season, and again, he won that fairly comfortably. I'm gonna sit here and tell you that had I been putting out my ballot, I probably put Kyle Filipowski on, and I take probably Hunter Tyson off the first team. But I don't have a huge problem with the first team being Isaiah Wong, Armando Bacot, Tyree Appleby, Hunter Tyson, and Jamarius Burton. Those guys are all very deserving. Those guys all had excellent seasons. For most of those guys, they, with the singular exception of Bacot, all those guys sort of lifted their team higher in the standings, I think, that people would have expected them to be. So, in that regard, it's not like, it's not like some guy scored a bunch of points playing for BC or Louisville or Florida State this year, and they put some team from the bottom of the standings there. I mean, Tyree Appleby from Wake Forest is the only guy on this list who isn't on a team that, was top 5 in the conference. So, and Wake Forest wasn't far behind there. So I'm not going to get that upset about it.
UNC, Bacot.
Oh, thank you. You're right. I forgot about that. In any event, I just can't get that worked up about it. I think Filipowski was up and down enough. He showed enough sort of freshman inconsistency that I'm not surprised that the voters went ahead and made him the first pick on the second team and didn't quite get there for the first team.
I think when it comes to that, I think Kyle Filipowski should have been the first team. But Jason, like to your point, I don't necessarily know who I would remove from this first team, right? Like you also have Terquavion Smith and Jarkel Joyner, who I thought had tremendous seasons as well, that also could have been on this first team. So you really had, guys.
When he played us, Jarkel Joyner looked like ACC first team for sure.
Looked like it. He looked both times that we played him.
Exactly.
But I think there was really 8 guys for 5 spots, and yeah, like Kyle Filipowski should have been there. But I'm not as animated about this one because, like, if you put him on there, you have to remove someone. And I mean, I don't know if I remove Tyson. I don't know if I remove Burton from that because, like you said, they're both just as deserving as Kyle Filipowski was. I just wish that this was one of those things where you had 8-9 guys on the first team, right? Like, you had a 6-man, you had all those guys who could be on the first team, but in essence, it's only 5. Sam,
look, guys, I agree with you. I'll tell you who I would take off of the All-ACC team to replace Kyle Filipowski. I'd take them all off because I thought he was awesome. I'm just going to be silly here. He deserved to be on the first team. I don't know which of these players I would remove, but I know that he deserved it this year. And I think it's a bummer that maybe his best performances didn't all happen in February, so he wasn't as top of mind, I think, for many of the media who were voting on this award. So I wish that his performance in the last 3 minutes of the Carolina game on Saturday had factored in more to this voting, because of course he was sensational.
It's worth noting that the ACC has had 5 players on the first team all-conference team back when the conference had 8 teams, 9 teams, and we now have 15 teams. It's a whole different ballgame, and it's considerably harder to get first team. I'm not saying that they should have more than 5 guys in the first team, but when you look historically at this kind of stuff and you find guys who, that guy was first team All-ACC 3 years in a row and that kind of stuff. Since the early 2000s, it's been a very, very different situation in the ACC.
The sadness and not seeing him on first team, I guess, is kind of also kind of negated a little bit, or at least somewhat neutralized by the fact that we are overloaded on the all freshman team with 3 guys on there. Kyle Filipowski, I believe, was a unanimous selection for the all freshman team.
Yes, and it's worth noting the only unanimous award in all the ACC voting was the vote to put Kyle Filipowski on the first team of the all freshman team.
And I think it's the 8th time that Duke has had a unanimous player on the all freshman team. I think they posted something earlier today about the list of unanimous first teamers. I think the last one was Vernon Carey actually in 2020 that we had on the first team All-ACC. But I mean, also adding Dereck Lively, who, guys, we've talked about the emergence of Dereck Lively recently, and the fact that, Sam, to your point, you mentioned that Kyle didn't really have some of the performances in February to maybe knock him off of that first team. Dereck Lively had a bunch of performances in February that probably elevated him to that All-ACC, even though he was the preseason All-ACC. He had preseason All-ACC first team written all over him.
Yo, if the season started in February, Dereck Lively would be first team All-ACC.
He probably would have won the award.
He certainly would have won Defensive Player of the Year. Although, I'm not going to re-Speakman. I'm fine with that. But he's been the best defensive player in the ACC for a good month now.
Pretty amazing comeback, I'd say, for Dereck Lively, given where he was at the turn of the calendar year. Being mostly, a spot bench guy with pretty limited usability. Really an incredible last 2 months that he's had.
I did want to note that our friend Brendan Marks from The Athletic, he put out his ballot earlier today, and he had a lot of love for Duke players. The one player that we haven't really talked about that he mentioned on quite a few teams, including all defensive and all freshmen, was Mark Mitchell. I feel like Mark Mitchell was kind of that. If I don't want to call him a snub, because again, there was a lot of guys who were qualified, but if there was anyone else that I would have thrown onto this all freshman team and even this all defensive team, it would have been Mark Mitchell. I think from a defensive standpoint, and we've talked about this a little bit over the last few weeks, it's the things that he does that are so important to this team aren't quantified in stats, right? Like he can do a lot of things that is not necessarily he's getting all the steals or all the blocks, but he's just locking down guys. And when you look at the stats of the other guy, you go, oh, that guy had a bad night. And it's usually because Mark Mitchell or even Tyrese Proctor have been on there. So it's unfortunate that whatever they've been doing, all the things they've been doing for this team just aren't quantifiable enough that voters can look and go, this guy, by these metrics and by these stats, have had a great season, and we should include them on the award. Jason.
Yeah, the thing I'd say about Mark Mitchell is, I mean, we talked about Dereck Lively being great since the start of February. Mark Mitchell's really just been great for the past 2.5 weeks or so, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's tough to make a case for the whole year based on just that. Although there's certain aspects of his game that he's been doing really well consistently. I continue to come back to, I said this stat a couple podcasts ago, in case anyone missed it. I want to make sure people are aware of this. Mark Mitchell's one of the 10 best players in the country at not fouling. It's an unreal statistic for a guy who is a great defender. I've noticed a little bit some other analyst types starting to pick up on this. I've seen it show up in articles and stuff like that.
Brendan Marks mentioned it today too. Yeah.
I was first one to point this out. Mark Mitchell is absurd at being a great defender who doesn't foul, a great skill.
And how important can he be to this team? Him and Kyle Filipowski, the only 2 guys who started every game this year.
A couple final notes here, Donald, that I wanted to share. I know you mentioned Ryan Young and Dereck Whitehead getting mentioned on the 6th man of the year. Pretty amazing that Duke had 2 6 men this year.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Sort of by definition, that doesn't exist, but good on both of them. Dereck Whitehead being sixth man of the year, I believe, is something that we would not have predicted at the beginning of the season, given that we expected him to be a key contributor. But that's good. I have questions for the voters. This voter may be the same person, and I don't want to spend too long ragging on Jeremy Roach, but one voter voted Jeremy Roach ACC Player of the Year.
I don't understand that.
And another voter gave Jeremy Roach a nod for Most Improved Player. And I can tell you that
Sam, I predict that the person who cast those votes, and I agree with you,
not the same person.
No, I think it likely was the same person, and I think it's someone who, maybe they had COVID or something. They didn't get to see a lot of games. They showed up for that NC State game earlier last week.
They were like, "Wow."
Yeah, they're like, Jeremy Roach, unbelievable. He had other good games, but if you voted him ACC Player of the Year, you certainly watched that the Duke NC State game where he torched NC State.
I guess you could be the NC State beat writer and just not see. Anyway, Jeremy Roach wasn't notably better than he was last year, and he was not ACC Player of the Year. So I don't know what to do with that. It's fascinating, but I'm just salty that Kyle Filipowski's not on the first team. So I'm gonna take all my rage unnecessarily on other Duke guys.
So I got one really quick. And we're kind of wrapping up, and we're doing some, of the weird things that we noticed on these votes. Gentlemen, Nigel Pack played last year in the Big 12 and was on the first team All Big 12 team. The Big 12, like the greatest conference on the history of the world. The Big 12, where literally the 9th place team is better than half the teams in every other conference out there. He was first team All Big 12 a year ago. Doesn't even sniff. Not even getting Jeremy Roach votes at the end of the voting kind of stuff in the ACC this year. Come to the ACC, and it's part of why the transfer portal is so weird and quirky and interesting. Like Tyree Appleby's, was not a player that people thought very much of when he was at Florida. He comes to the ACC and he's almost ACC Player of the Year. Nigel Pack, a lot of people Nigel Pack was showing up on preseason All-American lists. Doesn't even make third team All-ACC.
Ryan Young was not our most heralded transfer, becomes probably our most solid contributor off the bench at several points during the season, at least the most consistent one off the bench all season. Yeah, it's funny. That's why they play the games, ladies and gentlemen. So with that, we are going to end DBR Bites episode 18. But guess what? You're not going to have to wait much longer for us to appear in your feed again. The ACC tournament starts tomorrow, and at a certain point tomorrow, we will record so that we can preview our path to an ACC championship, how it can go. We're going to wait for that game between Florida State and Georgia Tech to play itself out so that we know who we could potentially face in the quarterfinals if they emerge past Pitt. So with that, we're going to be back in your feeds at some point tomorrow evening, or if not early Wednesday morning. Don't worry, we will get it to you before Duke plays his first game on Thursday at 2:30 in Greensboro. If you're going down to Greensboro, safe travels, enjoy that. But for now, for Jason, for Sam, I am Donald. This is the DBR Bites, and now it is time for the Duke Band to take us home.